And we'll be moving on to reports from council. And we will start off with Councilmember Didball.
We had a couple of meetings these past 2 weeks. The transit meeting, we have some ongoing projects, and two of the main ones that stood out were the Bogue Park and Ride video surveillance, that they're still working on those. Also the Connect card that's been going on for a while. So hopefully in the next meeting we'll have some future progress on those. Also, I was appointed to vice chairperson for that commission. We also had the Regional Housing Authority. That was actually my first meeting, taking over Stan's position. So I am actually touring the facilities and so forth, so just getting well acquainted with the whole commission and so forth. So I will keep you in progress with those. And the other meeting was the Sutter Animal Services Authority. I was appointed as chairperson. Thank you, Mayor Buckland.
Anytime I can help.
You may say thank you now, but
one of the things that we did talk about is the recruitment for an additional position. The service calls through the animal shelter from 2012, which were 6,200 plus calls with 5 positions. In 2015, those calls went up to 7,200 plus with only 3 positions. So currently they are recruiting for an additional position, and we'll go from there. Other than that, those were the meetings. And I just wanted to go ahead and let folks know that those of you, Special River Valley High School students, have probably seen posters up for the anti-bullying forum that will be held tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. That location has been changed to Boyd Hall due to some roof damage. So please make sure that you mark your calendars. It's a very, very important forum that's taking place.
Thank you very much. And moving to Councilmember John Dukes.
I have one meeting to report on. That was the Greater Sacramento special meeting, which was held this morning to amend the bylaws for representation by cities and how those things take place. And I believe that was approved today by the board. So that's all I had to report at this time.
Thank you very much. And Councilmember Cashgill.
Attended the Sacramento Metro Chamber of Commerce dinner with the mayor and Councilmember Dukes, and as well as Mr. Darren Gill, representative of City of Yuba City. So we had good representation, probably over 1,000 people. And but we were definitely recognized for representing the City of Yuba City. And out of those 1,000 people, I think there's probably only a few that Mr. Gill does not know. I think he knows most everybody there, so that's a good thing.
That was helpful.
Yeah, it's always nice to see the movers and shakers of Sacramento, the CEOs of the hospitals, the companies, and it's nice to see one of our companies, Larry M. Booth, was recognized there as well. So there was quite a bit of folks from Yuba City that was there as represented as well. Sutter's Flood Agency, we'll have our meeting next week, so no meeting there. As our executive director did mention, Mike Inamini, we do have a trip planned back to Washington, D.C., leaving on February 29th, which is a travel day. And even though it's a travel day, we get there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We have got 2 meetings set up, one at 5, one at 7. That's definitely one of those marches that gets going. And on the 1st and the 2nd, we leave at 6 o'clock from Washington, D.C. We arrive in Sacramento 11:20 at night. So by the time I get home, I think it'll be about 1 in the morning. But it's definitely, meetings are set up with the key people, which is definitely nice. It's definitely not with the staffers. It's definitely with the decision makers. And we hope to walk away with some additional monies to finish everything up. So though it takes time away, and it is definitely a march from sunup to sundown, it's definitely one of those trips that's worth it. So I can report when I definitely get back from that trip. And with that, that's all I have to report.
Thank you very much. And on to Vice Mayor Stan Cleveland.
Well, I've had a couple of busy weeks. My meetings all seem to have fallen on these 2 weeks. First of all, we went to the Redevelopment Oversight Board. It has to do with when the governor decided to eliminate redevelopment agencies unilaterally, that everybody was left with all this money and projects and stuff to have to figure out how to unwind it and bring it back into the community to where it could be utilized and used in land. So did some of that one of the meetings. As Mayor Buckland has said, we had a couple of board and commission interview meetings. 2 days that we split up the interviews. As a member of the California League of Cities Environmental Quality Committee, I went to the conference in Sacramento. And a lot of the things we're discussing is water supply, literally having to do with the drought situation that we have had, and also looking at the possibility, well, we're going to advocate very strongly for it, reduction in some of the percentage of conservation that we're mandated, and then also trying to get them to recognize that some communities had already voluntarily had people cut back, and they'd already done that. And 2013 was not a good year for them to use as a base year because some of the communities had already cut back. And so we were going to try to get them to recognize that. Discussed a little bit about wastewater, carb credits. That's I call it kind of funny money or fake money, but it's you can cash it in. Has to do with greening and not non-polluting items and stuff and projects. They're looking at rural communities and small communities actually getting their share of it instead of it all going to the big cities and areas, because they have the political clout, and actually allocating a very large amount to the rural communities instead of having so much going toward the larger communities. That looks like it's going to happen. So that's good. And then I went on to the Yuba City Transit, which is actually our bus system. I don't know how many of you actually have the passes that you can ride the bus to school. That they're the ones that provide those passes basically for you to do that. The discount passes. Some of the changes mentioned to happen on the carb credits are actually going to be able to be utilized for our transit to get possibly zero emission buses, instead of having to save their money for 3 or 4 years on grants. It may be able to be happen in 1 year for a bus instead of 3 years. So those credits are going to be very important for our rural community and our bus system. Then we went on to the transportation workshop we had last week, the city council. We're also going to have one on February the 23rd. When the first one was on the 28th, and it's discussing all the areas, the traffic and what we want improvements on the highways. We discussed the second bridge, the project on 5th Street, and some of the progress we have on that. So we had that. So that that was last Thursday. Then also, I don't know if this is part of it, but Chamber of Commerce, they had they're kind of a branch of our city. They work together with us. They had a Friday morning update and discussing the commerce of Yuba City. Then yesterday, I attended my first meeting at FRACMID. It's the Feather River Air Quality Management District. They're the ones that tries to keep people from polluting the air, polluting the water, and people get fines for that. Farmer burns stuff when they're on a non-burn day or they don't have a permit, many of those types of things. And I walk in the door, and my first meeting, I'm elected to be the chair. I think it was a conspiracy. I'm just kidding. I'd served on it before, so they knew I could handle that. Let's see. And it also ties in with some of the work that I'm going to be doing at the California League of Cities on air quality. And then I also gave an update speech to SIRS. What does that stand for again?
Sons in Retirement.
That's what I keep thinking. Sons in Retirement. And there were about 209 of these gentlemen inside of the room that had a breakfast, and I gave transportation updates, recent actions of the council, and then also some of the dreams that we have or things we're going to be attempting to do and accomplish. And got some very good questions from them, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. So, a bunch of vibrant guys in there. The average age in there of the 208 that were there is 76 years old. There are a lot of them that are actually in their 90s, very active in the community and making decisions and giving advice. Don't ever discount some of these seniors that are in their 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. You get a lot of wisdom out of them, and you avoid some of the pitfalls that you can fall into because they did it. They'll let you know, be careful or stay away from things. So they're a great resource in our community to get to know. That's it.
Thank you very much. When I retired from the police department after 32 years, I was recruited to SIRS. I am the teenager in the room. And
He's
Bring the ages
I-
way
I've-
down.
we would
I
have been
bring the average way low. So
the only
without
two
me, I believe it's 84. So, but it's a great group to belong to. I don't know what I'd do without it. Every Monday, first Monday of the month. What a kick. Attended the Regional Waste Management Authority meeting. The decision made at that meeting was to send back some recommendations to our jurisdictions to look at how green waste is being handled and the ongoing process of how green waste will be being handled by our local waste management company, which is Recology. We relied on information at that meeting provided to us through a study done by Sloan Vasquez. The authorities' hands are fairly, the authority is fairly limited, only being able to send individual decisions back to the participating councils and supervisory boards for the counties and cities. So that will be a topic of further discussion by these boards, and we are slated for
March 1st, Mayor.
March 1st for that discussion here. Also attended the SACOG, our board of directors meeting, and I'm sorry, for the students that are here, that one of our regional boards is the Sacramento Area Council of Government. It is the body that looks at distribution of transportation monies and everything else that comes through attainment of air quality. We have to have transportation plans for the region, and the region is a 6-county region to include part of El Dorado, Placer, Sacramento, Yolo, Sutter, and Yuba counties. So it's a rather complex board. There's 29 directors. I'm just one of the lowly directors there that make decisions, but also serving for my second year, I'll be chair of the Innovation Task Force for the greater regional efforts in innovation. Also attended the Sacramento Metro Chamber, and once again want to shout out for Mr. Larry Booth and that company that has been around for 9 years in the city of Marysville. They are an institution and certainly a well-placed construction company in the United States. They handle projects from coast to coast. They are a great resource to have here. So that was it for boards and commissions. I want to thank again River Valley High School for being here, certainly for the leadership that mandates that you attend some type of extra credit efforts, and your academic advisor is also the blood drive advisor for River Valley High School. So thank you very, very much for everything that you do, and certainly leading your students to come to this meeting.
Through the mayor,
I believe that we'll sign your sheets if you're kind to us after the meeting, too.
Once it's all done, we're almost done. And also to Troop 30, our Boy Scout troop that was here led us to the pledge. Certainly thank you very much for coming into the leadership, for bringing them here. I would like to close this meeting in memory of two different people. Harold Stephen McNally, or as we all knew him as Hal. Hal's been around for an ancient term, starting a business, I believe, in Marysville to begin with, moving some of his business operations into Yuba City as we grew here, and certainly has been instrumental. His family still runs the appliance store on Plymouth Street and over on D Street in Marysville. Just a great institution, and Hal was somebody that never looked down on what was happening, always had a positive and bright outlook on what he could provide for the community, and certainly was instrumental in building both of these towns into what they are today. And also, one of our former mayor's daughters, young daughter in her late 30s, passed away down in Tustin, but Tiffany Papa George passed away. So in memory of both Hal and Tiffany, I'd like to adjourn this meeting.
We also have some pins, Yuba City pins, that you can each snag one. Right here as you come up and get your signatures.